Goals. Everybody should have them and strive to hit them. Unfortunately, a lot of people go through their lives living paycheck to paycheck, never really thinking about what their financial goals should be. If you've never considered what your financial goals are, and more importantly, make a plan to hit them and execute on it, then more than likely you'll be at the whim of markets, politicians, and other things outside of your control. One of the things that we as humans tend to look at when we assess where we are in our life is our age. Sometimes at or around our birthdays, we just take stock where we are and assess where we need to be. With that in mind, in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 financial goals you're going to want to hit before you turn 35. What's up, you guys? You're watching BTB Fusion, where it's our goal to inspire you to take action on your finances and business using the power of technology. I'm your host, Derek West. Let's dive right in. So by the time a lot of people hit the age of 35, more than likely they are relatively established in their life. They'll be making close to their potential max salary for their lifetime. A lot of people will have already purchased a college education, an automobile, and a house. For their personal lives, you'll probably have been married or found a significant other, and more than likely have 1 or more children. So chances are your life is probably on autopilot at this point, and you're just paying bills, earning paychecks, and smashing that like button and dropping a comment on your favorite BTB Fusion videos, such as this one, to stimulate that YouTube algorithm. At this point in your life as well, you probably should be thinking about where you are financially and which financial goals you should be at by your mid-30s. You know, aside from subscribing to BTB Fusion. As you might imagine, there are a ton of websites out there with their own thoughts on the matter, and plenty of contention among YouTubers and other influencers as well on the topic of what should your goals be by the time you're 35. On the topic of what your financial goals should be by the time you're 35. That said, your financial status at this point in your life should be setting you up for success for the rest of your life, and your goals should reflect that. With that in mind, here are 5 financial goals you should hit by the time you're 35. And before we get into that, remember, you don't have to be 35 to hit these goals. You could be 28, you could be 27, you could be 13. Just keep in mind that you should be around this spot by the time you're 35. First things first, get out of consumer debt. So by the time you're 35, you should have had your fill of partying like a rock star in the VIP of some club, or going on shopping sprees at exclusive malls and boutiques, and eating out at 5-star restaurants every night for dinner. Or if you still like those things, you at least realize you shouldn't be putting them on a credit card if you can't pay the balance in full at the end of every month, and with enough to spare to invest a healthy chunk. By the time you're 35, you should be in a place where you realize that sinking all of your hard-earned dough to purchase things you don't need, to impress people you can't stand, is a vicious cycle which will ultimately end up with you in the poorhouse. So that means getting out of debt. To be specific, consumer debt. If you find yourself in a place where you have a ton of consumer debt, here are a couple of great ways to dig yourself out of the hole. 1, track your spending. You need to see where every last nickel is going so you can begin to take action. To do this, get an app that tracks your spending. There's a million of them out there. Pick one that works for you and that has a track record of safety and security. Next, pick your strategy. So now you know all your expenses, where they go, and the largest debts you have because you're tracking your spending, presumably. Now pick your strategy for handling the debt. Nope. Paying the minimum amount of debt each month is not a strategy. Not a strategy for success, anyway. Generally, when paying off debt, there are 2 schools of thought. The debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Don't ask me why debt repayment strategies are based around snowy events and not like the debt mudslide or whatever. But the debt snowball was popularized by financial guru Dave Ramsey. Basically, list your debts in order from smallest to largest, and put as much money as you can into the smallest debt each month while only paying the minimum values on the others. You would essentially pay off that smallest debt first. Then, once that smallest debt is paid off, you would apply the amount you were paying to that debt to the next smallest debt. Then once that initial smallest debt payment is paid, you would then apply the payment that you're paying to that debt to the next smallest debt, and then eventually pay that off. Essentially, you're building a snowball effect on all of your debt payments. Sort of like financial momentum. Do this until you pay all your debts off. The debt avalanche is really a list of all the debts from the highest to the lowest interest rates, regardless of balance. You then work to pay off the balance with the highest interest rate first, by paying as much as you can towards it while paying the minimums on the others. Once you've paid off the first, highest debt, you would then do the same thing to the second, and so on, until you've paid off all your debts. Now, this might have to be a multi-year strategy. So if you're in your late 20s or early 30s, you have plenty of time to execute on this goal by the time you're 35. Next financial goal to hit before you're 35, getting a credit score above 720. I think we're all relatively aware that a credit score is pretty important in your life. Yeah, sure. It is just a measure of how well you pay your debts on time, but is more importantly a signal to lenders about whether or not you're a person worthy of bestowing oodles and oodles of cold hard cash. Whether that cash be for purchasing a home for yourself, or a property that you can invest in and cash flow with, or a business loan to start a franchise, things like that. All those things take money, and likely more money than you'll be able to come up with on your own by saving for just a couple of years. And if you want any of those things at a low interest rate, saving you thousands, maybe millions if you do it right, in interest payments over your lifetime, then getting and maintaining a decent credit score is paramount. To get a decent credit score, it's not that difficult. Let me explain. Get a credit card and use it to finance purchases you'll make with cash anyway. Things like groceries, bills, some bills, gas, maybe a dinner out once in a while. The key here is to not overspend and not to approach your credit limit. Doing either of those things will send signals to credit rating agencies that you're a freewheeling spender who might just go on a bender one day and spend so much you'll not be able to pay it back. But another big key is to pay off the balance in full every month, without fail, every time, no questions asked. Seriously, never miss that. If you ever feel like you're in doubt to do that, simply do not use a credit card. It's not for you. You'll ruin your credit score doing that. But if you can do that, that is pretty powerful. Like I said, if for whatever reason you feel that you may not be able to do that, then please, for all that is good and holy, just don't get a credit card to begin with. But if you can do this and hold on to your credit card for a period of time, paying off the balance in full every month, then you should be able to hit a great credit score upwards of 720. Next financial goal to hit before you're 35. Be able to invest 25 to 30% of your income. This one is going to be slightly unreasonable for a lot of people. And honestly, it is kind of outrageous. But outrageous and audacious thinking is what it's going to take to really be living your best life. If you're able to invest 25 to 30% of your income or more by the time you're 35, and you maintain that momentum for 30 years, you could be sitting on a mountain of cash when you hit your 60s. Meaning you will not be relying on Social Security or other payments to fund your rock star lifestyle. The hardship and sacrifice you make now will be worth it when you hit your goals. But if you're in your late to mid 20s to early 30s, you should try to first hit a goal that seems less audacious and more reasonable and work your way up from there. Maybe the number to start out with is 5%. Maybe it's 15. The point is to pick a number, execute on it immediately, and start investing that value every month. You then see the effect it has on your finances and your way of life. You readjust and attempt to get it right the next time. Ultimately, the goal is to hit 25 to 30% of your income. Like I said, this is kind of an audacious goal, and typically it'll be easier if you have more income. That's why you should strive to hit the next goal. That's why you should strive to hit the next financial goal before you're 35. Maximizing your first income flow. By the time you're 35, you should be looking to somehow, some way, be one of the top performers in your chosen field, and to be paid like it. Now I realize not everyone can be number one, and it ain't easy being the king, but you can approach that level. The closer you get to that number, the easier your savings and investing goals will be to hit. If you're still in your late 20s or early 30s, this is the time to really hone your craft. Maybe think about going back to school and really get to learning about your chosen field in an intimate way, earning a master's or an MBA or something of that nature. Be careful though, those can be very expensive ways of honing your craft. And in all honesty, the return on investment may not be there. Except for maybe the most exclusive of MBA programs at Ivy League schools, you're more than likely just going to be getting a large bill and a marginal pay increase. Maybe instead, focus on self-learning, using sites like Udemy, Skillshare, Curiosity, and others to up your skill level in a very hands-on, tangible sort of way. Your pay increase will likely be roughly the same, but your bill will be substantially lower. All the more you can use to save and invest your way to success. And all the more you can use to hit your next goal before you're 35, get a second stream. So by the time you're 35-ish, you're going to want to get a second flow of income if improving your personal finances throughout your life is a personal goal of yours. A ton of millionaires have a second flow of income that they use to help buffer them from marketplace fluctuations, job losses, unexpected illnesses, and things of that nature. More importantly, once you get a second flow going, your financial freedom index goes through the roof. Essentially meaning that you can do what you want when you want to. if you're able to get your second flow going, you'll have the flexibility to tell your boss, that you're just not feeling the general direction of the company or the department at the moment. And that you're going to step aside for 6 weeks to take stock of your life and travel the world. Hang out with cool YouTubers like Graham Stephan, Derek West, Ryan Serhant. All the greats. And if they still have a job for you when you come back, great. If not, also great. You'll find something else to do and someone else to work for. You could also use that second income stream to develop a third income stream and keep building on that until eventually you have crazy Lambo money. A popular second stream of income can come from real estate investing. One of the more popular ways to invest in real estate nowadays is to purchase a house relatively cheaply, renovate it, and rent it out to quality tenants, ensuring, of course, that it cash flows. You'll be building your equity in the house, which will hopefully also be gaining in value. And you'll also be reaping the tax benefits that come with home ownership. Another popular second stream of income comes from dividend investing. Basically, it's an extension of investing your income. But this time you find stocks, index funds, and ETFs that distribute a dividend. You basically do this till you have multiple dividend yielding stocks in your portfolio, and you either reinvest the dividend in the instruments themselves or take the money and use it to live off of while you plow the rest of your income into the investment. Another popular stream of income on the YouTubes nowadays. Another popular second stream of income on the YouTubes nowadays is a Shopify store or an Amazon FBA store. These are definitely more hands-on and probably more hands-on than even owning real estate. But they also have the biggest potential of having even more upside. If you really find a product that resonates with the general public, you could really make a killing and maybe even quit your job type of money. When you quit your job, you could technically spend all your time watching BTP Fusion videos on YouTube. And to make that even easier, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so that YouTube alerts you to all of our upcoming stuff. And remember, a goal without a plan is a wish. A goal with a plan and no action is a wish list. Take action on your finances and business using the power of technology, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.